Go. Woohoo! Welcome everyone. I'm so excited to have you guys joining in for our it's May already. I'm trying to look up and see what it is. Our May Masterclass. And I'm very, very excited to welcome my very wonderful, beautiful, amazing friend, floral friend, Ace Berry, all the way over from, Texas. Where are you at, Ace?
So I'm 45 minutes west of Houston in a town called Fulshear. It was a small ricing community that's turned into a more of like a not urban but suburban kind of area. They're projecting it to be like 100,000 people in the next 4 years. Yeah. From when I bought my store out here, it was like 8,000 people.
Oh, really? Well, I came to visit you last year in June. Me and my Florida man came out after the Texas State Conference.
Yes.
And it was really, really lovely to get a tour of your store and everything that you're doing over there.
Well, I'm actually in the store, so y'all will hear phone ringing and people are working, and I'm just posted up in the middle of the store like this is my area now.
Yeah, no, I know. He's like getting all the people out of the way. I was like, Ace, you have to be our guest for this masterclass. I ran into him. We were both speakers at Michigan, the Flower Conference this year in Michigan State, the Great Lakes Floral and Event Expo. And you were their main stage person that they brought in for this. Like, tell me about that. How did you get into this, Ace?
So how I got into being there, or just in flowers in general?
Oh my gosh, well, let's throw it way back. How did you know you were going to be a floral designer? Because you're really like making such a movement in florals, and it's just so nice to see a masculine figure up there, just sharing this love of flowers. So give us the whole backstory.
So 2007. So backstory is when I was 19, I actually delivered flowers for a small town flower shop in Victoria, Texas. I was really bad at it. I think when you are that young and you don't really have worldly kind of experiences yet, you just kind of take everything and just like, this is what it's going to do. And so I messed up a lot of arrangements, delivering them to places where the people were not there. Okay. But the original owner would let me stand by his desk a lot of days, and he would tell me to go get flowers. And what I say now looking back is that he planted the seed, and then we just had to watch it bloom. And it took 7 years. And the day I got laid off from the oil field was February 22nd of 2007. And I just decided at that point, I wanted to do something purposeful and meaningful with my life. And I decided that I was going to do flowers. I did love the part where people smiled, even at their absolute worst. They were happy to see me with flowers.
Yeah. And so even they might have got it there, all discombobulated. They were still happy. Yeah. They didn't know.
Exactly. So it just kind of gave me my start. It literally was a seed that was planted, and it took 7 years for it to happen, because I fought, the whole thing of oh, you can't do flowers. You're a big, tough, strong guy with tattoos, and you can't do that. Yeah. And when I finally got past that part and decided this is the way I was going to go and do flowers, I just never looked back. Every time somebody would say, oh, you can't do this, I would be I just would tune them out and keep trying to perfect my craft.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it all started.
That's kind of a big change though. You think of what the oil fields in Texas is, oh, yeah. And then the flower industry. I mean, that you can't be in two more polar opposite kind of
It was definitely one of those things when I made that switch, that I took a lot of what I learned in the oil field and added it into flowers. I took my work ethic of always having being okay, I'm going to be here at this time. And this is, you're on a very set schedule. Lots of times with oil field, you had to be at certain places at certain times. So I took all of that and just added it into this flower career, which made me a little bit more successful because I had to work nonstop. And I wanted to learn. I was literally consuming as much knowledge and as fast as I could. And it just turned into more of an obsession and a passion. And then I kind of knew within like 6 months, I was like, oh man, I made the right decision and I'm going to be really good at this somehow. I'm going to just outwork people if that has to do it. So.
Well, I definitely think that you definitely outwork people. The first time I met Ace, and if anybody has any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat, or please speak up and ask Ace your question, because we want to get really dig into like who he is, why he designs the way he designs. But I met you for the first time at Sue Davis's Design Sanctuary retreat up in Pennsylvania. And I was struck by all the men that were actually at that retreat. And you were one of them. And as far as like being a hard worker, I mean, you lugged these buckets down a hill. I was like, hey, I've got some help here finally. It was like, I'm going to give Ace all the stuff. You were like working so hard, but you did not stop. You were like a machine putting these things together. And I was just like, that is the guy I want on my team.
Yeah, it's been, I've always kind of said that I wasn't the most talented designer, but I could always be the hardest worker, which in turn really helped me in my design, because when people would take breaks, like the talented designers, if they took a break, I would just sit there and analyze everything. I would spend hours just looking at a design, be like, okay, how did they do this, until I got it. And then it honestly, it helped me evolve into the designer I am today. Even going into full bloom, like I wasn't the most talented there, but I could analyze things and I had a good process of elimination real fast to learn it.
Yeah.
And it really helped me out. Just having that that oil field background really helped me with like problem solving and coming up with a solution and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. I watched you over the years, like since I met you at Design Sanctuary, I've bumped into you time and again at all these different conventions we've been going to. And I remember a few years back, and I was in Las Vegas, really was struggling with my table, because you have to put a round table. I had to put a TV on this. Yes. I had some things, I was traveling from really far. I had some ideas from mechanics, and only like one bucket of flowers. I really was not as prepared as I probably should have been. But then once you get there and you see what craziness is ensuing with flowers, it's like, I've got to add more to my table. So Ace was like walking through the showroom there and just like taking whatever he wanted, and people are like giving it to him. Like they want to give Ace their flowers to you. So they all ended up on the details table.
I remember that, because I just remember like, no, we're going to do this. And I'm like, oh no, they were like, what did they say? Oh no, you're not supposed to take that. I'm like, at all these conventions, we always end up throwing out so many flowers at the end of it. And to me, a flower, like if it's cut, it needs its day. Yeah. Even if it's just a filler flower. So like I walk through place, I'm like, nope. And I just start pulling the stuff, because I know if it's in the middle of that room, it's not going to get used. It's going to get chunked. Yeah. So I try to do all of those things to make sure it elevates our industry in the long run, is what it's really doing. And that's what we need. I mean, I even do it in my stage programs. Like if I order flowers and I get my procurement in, I try to use up every last flower that's in there. And then I try to add in from other people's stuff too, because we do these programs and lots of these flowers don't ever get seen. And it's such a waste on our industry. So I always want to make sure I'm adding in and, letting that flower have its day.
Well, I definitely think you're of the mindset. I was more like, I don't want to upset these people. And I'm more of like the person asking permission. And you're like, no, I'm going to ask for forgiveness. And we're just going to use these flowers. But it was extraordinary. I was so grateful to like get to know you more during that. You like are able to connect with people so much when you're watching their design style or the way that they do something. So it was just a really nice get to know you session with Ace.
Yeah. I that's honestly probably my biggest passion, is to teach people and to like really like, it's not when you see that they're doing something and it's not correct, but building them to be that much better of a designer in the long run.
Yeah.
Because when they are doing great and they are built up, that you've just put it into your, you're building a team.
Yeah.
They're going to make you look that much better while advancing themselves at the same time. So I have designers, and I'm like, no, we need to try this way, do this. You're doing this well. Let's try this.
Yeah. Well, it's really great that you do that. And I feel like you are one of those, you're just a really great stage presenter and like getting your point across. I've seen you speak a few times now. And was there like a snafu or something that happened at one thing recently? I feel like I saw you do something that was like not what you wanted, but it was like wabi sabi. It was like, what was that for? Who were you?
Yeah. So I did a wabi sabi with Stacy Carlton and Arthur Williams.
Okay.
And when so we were in Las Vegas when all this happened, and I have redone a design. It was like 4 times. And the first time it fell apart, I was just like, oh my gosh. And I had glass rods in it. And I'm like, okay, everything's going to be fine. I've just got to redo it. So I redid the whole design and figured out a whole new way. And then it fell apart too. And I'm like, okay, it's all right. 3rd time's charm. Finally, like, I think it was like we had 2 earthquakes while we were there. That made it fall apart. And I was like, finally, I was like, okay, this is going to make this design this much better. And every time I had to redo it, I would like tweak certain things that I didn't like. And I ended up using broken glass rods, which really elevated the design and the whole thing because of it. Because I was just like, oh, it's imperfect. Like, it needs to have this. So yeah. And it's fun.
No, well, I don't mean to call you out in any way, but I think that everybody has been there, and it's like your vulnerability is just what made you so lovable. It was just like, that is just like what we all go through. We all strive for that perfection. It's like you had an earthquake working against you. It's like, hey, here's this whole COVID-19. That was before COVID too. Like,
yes,
never thought that but natural, these worldly events,
it's really crazy. Like, because I honestly, when I first got into the industry in 2008 is when I saw my first stage program way back when. And I told myself, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I want to be on stage. I wanted to inspire people. I wanted to be able to tell my story and have people like see that you could make a career change. Like, you're not tied into this one thing that, everyone I think as kind of the broad scope of always say, you have to do this. This is what you're supposed to do. And when I made that switch, I always kind of thought, like, how many people are like me in the world that are scared to do this?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I ended up knowing that I wanted to be on stage, but there was a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
I've had some horrible stage programs where I just get tongue tied and I'm like, okay. So through the years, I finally just like speak from the heart, be honest. If you don't know something, don't try to BS your way through it. Just be like, hold on, let me find out. Come find me after the show. We're going to figure it out together. It's just those type of things. And then as far as I didn't learn really vulnerability until probably about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Just because I was always like, oh, I had to be perfect. And I kind of think that now I've transitioned away from, I don't have to have perfection all the time. And it was probably around 2019 when I realized like, I didn't have to be perfect. Yeah. I needed to be me. And that's like kind of what I've learned. Like, I don't have to be perfect anymore. I just need to be me and be okay with being me.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what that Stacy Carlton program had to do a lot with, was that the beauty is in the imperfections. And nature doesn't grow their flowers, perfectly every time. I think a lot of them are, but some of them that are the most unique come out with just like 2 heads sometimes, it's like, how are we going to put this on display?
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's really cool. During that same year, you actually were awarded Texas State's Floral Designer of the Year.
Yep.
And you got awarded, I think, down at their Capitol. Can you tell us about that experience and what that meant from coming from like an oil field into like now like best florist in the whole state of Texas? Like, that is a killer, Ace. I'm so proud.
It was I tried to win Texas Designer of the Year a couple times, and that year, as I told myself, I was like, okay, I'm pretty much done competing, is what I told myself. I wasn't going to do it anymore. And then at the last minute, I was just like, all right, I think I'm going to do this. It's in the Capitol. Like, we were designing in the Capitol, and I'm like, if this is the time, if I'm going to do it, this is it. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of showed up, and it was funny because the Texas State kind of people that were there, for the floral part of it, they were telling me not to talk to people. And I was sitting here designing and just having conversations because it felt like I was in my flower shop, which made it where so much easier to design. I was just like, I turned off my brain, just let my hands go to work.
Yeah.
Just made my design that much better. And I didn't have like the extra of like, oh, I made a prop. I literally showed up with a piece of driftwood and a vessel. And that's what I'd made. And I was just like, I just wanted to focus on having the most solid design that was there while having a good time and showing like who I was. So
Yeah.
it made it very easy to design, but it was such an honor because you're designing in the rotunda of the Texas Capitol, and you're getting to go see the, where they passed Texas laws, and a lot of the senators and stuff like that were there. It's really cool.
Yeah, just so prestigious. So I imagine that you have to use all your elements of design during that competition. Was it difficult for you to like get into AIFD and like learn all those techniques? Like, I imagine that was probably pretty foreign. Or
yes and no. So I started my AIFD journey in 2013.
Okay.
I took a class from Jim Johnson, the late Jim Johnson, which is an amazing person. He helped write a book with Buddy Benz and Bill McKinley. It's just an amazing book. I'll share it with you. I have it somewhere over here. But he kind of told me, he was like, hey, you need to consider this. And that's what honestly made the ball. That was what kickstarted the ball. And then I just met some amazing designers through those years. And I met Patience, and she kind of was like, you're really good at this, and this, but you need to learn this. So I would send her pictures every other day, and she would tell me, oh, this is amazing. And I would literally text her back and be like, no, it's crap. Tell me what's wrong with it. Because I didn't want to know anything that was good. I wanted to know everything that was bad so I could be better. Mm-hmm. And then in 2014, we went to Chicago and I tested, and I passed. And it was very nerve-wracking, but there was 6 of us from here in the Houston area that all tested, 6 of us total. And we just all worked with each other. Like, it was a nonstop group effort. We all, back and forth with each other and tried to learn and pick up what we did well and what we didn't do well. We tried to emulate, and ended up all 6 of us passed. So.
Well, that's awesome. I love to hear that camaraderie, and it's so nice probably to have people in your area that care as much about the craft as you do, as like really kind of following along in those techniques.
Yeah, it's weird because I see it as an art form. Like, when I first started, I saw it as more of like I saw it as a business the whole time, but it was more business. Now I see it as more of an art form. So I have to have like a clear dividing line between business and art.
Yeah.
Because the two, like, it's very hard to merge the two lots of times. So,
well, I would say it takes a really special person to be able to like, I think often people come to us with a certain budget of what they want to spend, but sometimes the artists, the craftsman pieces require so much different wild product that it's really would be unattainable for the consumer. So it's more about that passion or the picture, or just like, can I achieve this?
Yes.
So
yes, I love that. That's like what I strive for. It's like, oh, I just want to have this amazing pop of art. That's kind of now.
So you do a lot of like retail flowers where I feel like you sell out pieces that you really move out of your shop that are art pieces of the fullest kind. Like you're selling just beautiful, gorgeous pieces of art. You also do events, which I feel like those are artful too. But can you talk about that process of what it is to like put out a Ace Berry designed piece? Like, is it?
So no matter what I do, I try to put my heart into every design that I make. The biggest thing so I bought my flower shop in 2016. And it was a failing flower shop. I'm very open with my books and everything. I ended up losing about $75,000 that first year. I bought in July, and it was the owners that I bought from were not very good owners. So I was constantly having to put money into fix and go talk to customers that they had lost that were very influential customers for my area.
Mm,
So I was constantly putting in my personal money, fixing somebody else's mess ups.
mm.
But then my second year in business, which was really like 6 months later, I started my second year, or what I would deem January of 2017. And I ended up doing like 150,000 over what I had projected from their books.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So then I started really kind of paying attention to that. And so I'm on my seventh year, and we're just over 500,000 in sales. I went down and I forged relationships with different companies and like funeral homes. I went in and talked to them and literally just kind of told them, I was like, I'm the best in this business and I'm willing to prove it. Like if somebody else's stuff is messed up, I'll come in and fix it on my time and on my dollar to prove to you that I am that much better.
Wow.
And that with that happening, they were calling me on Sundays like, hey, so-and-so stuff is messed up. Can you come fix this? I was like, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it turned into me being their number one florist. And
Wow.
I'm the one that they are called. And the closest funeral home is 30 minutes away from us.
Wow.
So for them to tell a family to drive 30 minutes away to come meet with us is a big deal. That's proof right there. The other thing that I kind of got when I bought the store that I wanted to be the absolute best at, and I want to be the best, and I'm probably not the best, but I want to be the best. So I strive for it every day. It's customer service.
Mm.
It's a dying art. It's a dying thing because people just don't want to put in the extra effort for customer service.
Right.
Customers have other options. Like they have other options to use someone else.
Yeah.
So the better you are, you can honestly put out a product that is almost subpar to someone else. But if you have that much better customer service, they're going to use you. And as long as you're not trying to BS them and you tell them, like, if you mess up, people mess up, just own up to it and, get them something that's even better. They're going to keep using you. And I've had it happen. I've had people call me and say, Ace, I just don't like this arrangement. My time is valuable. Florists across the board, our time is valuable. We don't have time to argue. Just fix it and move forward because that's going to turn into more money later. Yeah, you might lose $50 right now, but in the end, you're going to gain a customer that's going to stay with you and dump $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 in to your business. So it's just all about customer service.
I wholeheartedly believe, like, I know that that's what really is like the driving factor of people coming to use our software is like, if you call, do you get them on the phone? I spent 40 minutes, my daughter who's interning with us on the phone this morning, calling some government agency. And I couldn't believe that they just keep you on the phone like all this time. When you call us, like, we answer, we're there. We want to help you because if we help you, we know you're going to be a happier person. But customers, they so rely on you to do the concierge part of the job. And that's really what floristry is. It's like, listen.
I have an order over here that we have to make a change on. Literally, we're going to call the customer later today and we're going to say, hey, we don't have all these exact flowers, but is it okay if we switch some things and we'll text you a picture to make sure you love it before it goes out? It's that little bitty extra bit that's going to take it over the edge where they're like, hey, we love you. So I don't know, that's just my little soapbox rant about customer service because I feel like a lot of florists don't do that. And I feel like they're kind of jaded almost like, oh, I don't want to have to do that. But if you do it, you're going to make more and you're going to be happier because your bank account's going to be fuller.
Yeah. Well, and I think your customers will come back for that because at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel like they're getting something custom, even if they aren't getting something that's completely unique. They want to feel like if they're going to spend their money, especially on a florist or on a gifting type of thing, they want it to be special. And that goes to show,
Yeah. So that's but as far as now going back to your original question, sorry, I averted and then no, I literally talk to customers all the time and I want to give them a piece of me. There lots of times they use me because I am different. I'm not your normal. I don't look like your normal florist. I'm 6'1", just under 300 pounds and covered in tattoos.
Yeah. Right.
So, I try to give them art. Even I don't care if it's $25. I want to give you something amazing. I want you, when you leave here or you get it, they're like, yep, never using this Joe Blow over here ever again. Only use an Ace.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, you got an ace in your pocket. That's exactly what everybody wants, right? Yeah, you've curated a lot of different unique local artisans too in your store, I noticed, which I think is like so cool whenever I visit somewhere and it's like they're actually using other artists to enhance their gifting options. So can you talk about like how you pick people to have a space in your store?
Yeah. So it all started out, the very first person I ever started with was a lady that's local to my area. Her name's Cynthia Jackson. She owns it's called Dash Blossoms, and she does single pin art. And she came and took a class, and you hear it a lot of times when you kind of do classes. Oh, I do this and I make this, and maybe I should have it in your store. And I'm like, okay, maybe. And you always kind of, when you get in, you're like, okay, that's definitely not the vibe of my place. Well, I kind of chalked her up to that at first. And then I saw her stuff and I was like, oh no, that is definitely the vibe for my place.
Yeah.
And so we just kind of started working together, and I was just like, I want to have your cards. I only want to sell your cards here in my store. And she ended up bringing it in, and we just cultivated this beautiful relationship where she did a mural, and then it just turned into other local artisans like Jewel. I have a lady that makes, I don't know the name of it, but it's like clay jewelry. It's pot, I think it starts with a P. Sorry, but like her earrings, and they're just cute. And I'm like, okay, I need that. Sorry, one second. Not those lilies. Sorry, they're designing something. I have something for a funeral. Real life here, guys. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We're gonna ask you for a little tour in a little bit or something to see these.
Run through with my laptop through the store. So that I just kind of started these relationships and started talking to people. And the whole thing is as artists, a lots of times we feel like we have to starve like an artist, and we don't. But if I have a platform that I can help you out, it is my job to help get you to where you need to be too. Yeah. And that's what we should all do as artists together, is help lift each other up. The other thing is that I think we get into like competition mode a lot of time, like, oh, so-and-so over here, we can't trade our secrets because they might steal something. There's more than enough like business out there for all of us. We don't have to have competition. It's community is greater than competition.
Yeah.
And that builds your industry, and that builds all of us up to make us all better.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like you're so forthcoming with like all of your techniques and what you do. And even when we come to you with like, hey, we have this contest with ball, can we send you some sunflowers and you are going to design something? And I'm always so inspired by like what you create, but you are like the master of headpieces. So I know we have or hair flowers or however.
Yes.
People are very much interested in seeing how you go about like deciding either what you're going to do for a competition, or like how do you approach something like a design or a headpiece? Or
so when I do headpieces, there's a couple different ways I've gone about it. I've sketched it, I've put it on today, the one I'm going to show y'all, I actually have one that I've done on a mannequin head, and this is just the overall start of how I'm coming up with a concept for it to go from this to a person's head. So this isn't as much as mechanical stuff as it is trying to get your overall vision and your shape, because lots of times you can keep doing them and they'll always turn out kind of the same shape. But if you want to evolve, you have to kind of tweak things and learn stuff. When it comes to headdresses, so this is how I typically start all of them, and I'll show y'all. And then we take pictures and I start editing things out. In the picture, if it doesn't look right, that's when I start pulling it away and figuring out what needs to go here to enhance the design in the big picture of it. Because when it comes to my social media part of it, if it doesn't look good on that still image, it's just not going to hit the numbers that I want, and it's not going to hit the creative part of I want. So do y'all want to see? I can't.
Yeah, I think they do. I don't know. You guys want to see what Ace is up to now? Like,
this is one that I want to do. I'm trying to figure out a concept because I'm going to be in Philadelphia And so this is kind of the concept. And so this is
Oh,
straight into just a foam head. And then what I'm going to do is pop pictures of it as I get it. And I'm only doing it with drieds right now. And then I'm going to kind of figure it out. But I have this line. I've always done it where it's bigger here on this side. So I'm trying to pull it where it goes almost in front of their face.
awesome. Can you put it a little closer so we can see? And we're going to ask you for pictures of this later. What are you using here with this ace? And is there any kind of like a headband or any kind of,
So this is just shoved into a foam or into the foam of the head right now. So typically what I do is I start with a piece of foam actually in the top of the headdress.
okay.
It's just dried. And the things about like headdresses, everybody always wants to use wet foam. You don't have to. It only has to last for an image. You're trying to do a photo shoot with it. So it doesn't have to have like the water source and everything like you think it would have to have.
Okay.
So typically what I do is I take a small piece of foam and some chicken wire and I wrap them together. And then I kind of figure out how to attach it into the head. So it's where they can move and flip their head and kind of spin everything where it won't fly out. And then I start designing. The reason these are on heads like this at first is to kind of get the overall shape. So I know which way I want to go. So once I have the foam in the head, like it's all coming from the same radial point. So then it's just me designing and pulling it into the lines that I need and then the shapes and stuff like that.
So you don't actually just go on the fly on the spot when you have your model sitting there. You like to have like a plan of action of where you're going to take this design.
I do. So I used to do them like just kind of like on the fly, but the issue that I was having is that it wasn't making me feel like how I wanted, like when I know it's perfect, which you can't have perfection, but there's still that part that's inside you there. Like you want it to be masterful.
Yeah.
And so I started kind of doing this kind of concept. And then it just started elevating them. And I was inspired by Queen Herbie and I wanted to do a headdress for her. So like I started it like this and it just turned out so much stronger and better that I was just like, okay, this is exactly how I'm going to do them from now on. Like this, it just made more sense to me. Yeah. But when I am traveling and trying to do them, I usually sketch them out and I kind of, on the sketch, it looks like a bunch of scribbles and doodles and
it's all here.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Yeah, as long as I know what it is, it's awesome. But yeah, that's kind of how I do it. I'm pretty forthcoming with all of it. I'm trying to come up with a video now with like Bloom TV network of how to show this. But my next one is going to be on flower beards and how to attach it to your face. And because I've gotten a lot of questions about how do I do it? Does it hurt? Does my beard get ripped out? All that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have a really good model for you there. So I feel like we got to work it out with Florist Review. When Ace does my husband's beard, we need that on the cover of Florist Review. I just think that'll be, I'll retire after that.
I feel like we need the cover of Florist Review when we do this.
Yeah, I have to talk to Jules. We'll see.
Yes.
So this is a headpiece that you are just kind of sketching out. You're going to be at the Philadelphia Flower Show. Tell us about like what is that if people don't know, and what is your contribution going to be?
Well, I can't say fully what it is yet. It's kind of a secret.
Well, yeah.
It is. I wish I could, but yes, I will be there. It's going to be a really fun thing. This whole concept, I just kind of came about because it is the flower show, and I was just like, okay, but I want to do it. I've always done a lot of female models, and I'm trying to transition into more of like a male model, just because I find it a little bit more challenging, because if you don't have like long hair where you can attach things, it adds a whole nother element of difficulty. So I'm trying to do that. But also like when we did the balls B thing, it was the first time I put myself in front of a camera with a headdress.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I just fell in love with that. So maybe I don't know.
Do yourself. Well, I imagine it was probably very difficult to like create that piece on your own head. If anybody hasn't seen the pictures, we'll definitely put a picture of this right now in the video of your. It was really, really quite stunning, and I was surprised that both finalists were both headpieces. You know.
Yes,
So,
Brandy's amazing. I love Brandy. So she's another Texas person. So she did a phenomenal job.
yeah, she had a more of a Ukrainian vibe,
She
which I
did.
think was very, telling with everything going on in the world. But yours was just like everyone knew it was your design ace, you know.
Well, secret to doing design. Put your face in it, and
Yeah,
then they
right.
know who to vote
Who to
for.
vote for? All of your fans
Yeah,
were like, yes, this one.
it was easy to find. I don't know.
I loved it. I wasn't expecting that. We're gonna make a new rule now.
Well, which is funny. It wasn't supposed to be me. I had some, and then our time schedules didn't line up. But to get it done, I was like, oh no, so it was literally like, I have to be, it has to be me.
I loved it.
So,
It was perfect. It was great.
yeah.
So you're going to be upcoming at the Philadelphia Flower Show in, I guess that's in June. Sorry, there's ambulance going on. I don't know if you can hear that, but you're also going to be doing a few different conferences with your friend Patience.
Yep.
And can you tell us about this, just so we kind of have more clarity? And if there's anybody who wants to attend,
Yes.
how can they be a mentee of yours?
So I'm trying to think what year it was. Anyway, it's some years ago. She and I started a thing called Inspired Designs, and we were doing them mainly in South Dakota and Sioux Falls at a wholesale house up there. And it all came about because on the wall in this place it said inspired, and I was just like, oh my gosh, we should say Inspired Designs. And the whole thing about it was that a lot of times when you go to take classes, people preach to you, or they talk like at you and not to you. That makes sense. And I think it just kind of came to the point where like people don't want to go sit in chairs anymore for an hour and listen to you lecture them. They want to be entertained. And I think with the social media part of like just the world now, I think a lot of people lack on their social media and they don't really know how to set up their style shoots, or they don't. It's just so many different things that get overwhelming as a florist. And I think just as a business person, your main focus when you're in business is your business, and not having content to try to drive your business and drive sales. So when she and I started it, I literally told her, I was like, we're going to do a retreat, and it's going to be to rejuvenate designers.
Yeah.
And we're going to find all of the next great designers, and we're going to pump them up and just make them believe in themselves. Because I think that's the other thing. A lot of designers in the world right now just don't believe in themselves. They constantly are kind of self-doubting and
imposter syndrome.
Yes. So we just went at it that way. And then, so the first one we did was in Sioux Falls, and it just kind of built, we got photographers and we got models, and we were like, okay, this is how you, and it's explaining to designers that are florists, this is how you talk to your photographer. This is how you convey to them what you're trying to need for your image, for your social media. And so they were learning that nonstop. And so then it just evolved into, we did one here in Texas at High Point Estate. And then we went back to South Dakota and did one in the Black Hills. And it's just working with these photographers and literally building your portfolio, also while building you up as a designer. So when you go back to your store, you're going to make money. You can do it, because I think a lot of it is we get into our own headspace and we feel like we can't.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot of lack of confidence. And I think if you can see someone else do it, you're not so afraid to try those things later on. So that's something new that you did. Tell people about HBO's Full Bloom. Like, that was a really great show. It's been a little while now, so it's not like it wasn't last month or anything, but you're still like,
it's I never know what to say about it. It's such an amazing experience. But I will say, if y'all do want to attend an Inspired Design Retreat, there's one in South Carolina in Hilton Head
okay,
in October. And
What
you can get all the info at inspireddesign.info, and it has all the info right there.
what a great location too. I mean, Hills Head, North Carolina. It's like really, really great.
That's
Beautiful.
what I said. I kind of, when Patience said, she was like, why are we're not, neither one of us are from that area. So she's like, why are we going there? I was like, we have to switch it over. I was like, we need to build an experience where they get to come and see like this amazing town that they might never see, but they like, this is, so we're also working on one for Mackinac Island. And yeah, so, I mean, it's the big picture. Like I always kind of see the big picture. I'm like, all right, logistically, how can I make this happen? And then Patience is always the person that's like, Ace, this is what we need. And so we both work very well with each other to make it happen, because we want to deliver the best product for the people that are investing their hard-earned time and money into themselves. Like, and realistically, that's what both of us did for ourselves. We invested our money and our time into ourselves. And that's the best thing I can always tell people: invest your time, invest your money back into yourself. It'll work out.
Well, and I think that you also are a student in a lot of these things. So you don't always have to be the teacher. I think it's so good for business owners to like kind of step outside of themselves. Like we were at Team Flower in New York this past week, and it was just so nice to connect with so many designers and really hear from them and different, you know, there were people flying over from anywhere. So find out where these things are happening at, whether it's Ace's retreat or someone else's, and, you know, invest in this else, and you will grow so much. And it's always nice to also share your experience. So it's always nice to hear people who are like, well, this is the way I do it. And a lot of times people have never even considered that. So it's like just opening yourself up.
It's such a, I learn something every retreat I go to. If it's Inspired Design, if it's, any of them, Design Sanctuary.
Yeah.
Like I learned so much from Design Sanctuary that I still implement into my business, into my designs that helped me out. And you don't have to be the teacher all the time. You just have to watch and be willing to like learn, and not put yourself like, oh, this is the way, this is how I do it, and this is the only right way. There's always so many different ways to do things.
So you're going to be a part of a new Bloom TV, I guess.
Network.
Yeah. So can you tell people like more about like what gets producers like investing in your, like you as the character, like what should they be doing if they're wanting to be like someone that is involved in these kind of productions?
So, so Bloom TV Network, I've done a couple videos for them now. And what I learned was that a lady named Katie Whalen, so she owns Mystic Art Pictures. She's who casted me for Full Bloom.
Okay.
Told me, she was like, you have everything to be a star. And I was just like, I am just a florist. And that's all I want to be, is a florist. And she was like, nope. She was like, you could literally be the next big kind of reality star. And I was like, nope, just going to be a florist. That's it. But it taught me that I had so much more than just being a florist. Like being a florist is what I want to be, but I have so much more to give than just that. And if I can inspire people with flowers, this is what I want. This is all the bonus part. So just be authentically you. That was honestly what got me casted on Full Bloom, was that I was authentically myself. I didn't try to be something I wasn't. Like when I did my design for them, I mean, I told them, I was like, listen, I'm a chubby dude from a small town that has a lot of tattoos, that probably doesn't speak, eloquently all the time. I cuss a little.
Everybody loves the cussing,
Yes.
I got to do it more.
It was all of those little things that just made me me. And then once I got casted, they kind of were like, well, this is what we need. I'm like, I was so determined. I'm like, I'm not going to be anything I'm not. Because being on Full Bloom, that the camera will cut through the BS. You can't fake who you are for a long period of time. Like sooner or later, it will come out of how you are. So I just kind of told myself, I was like, okay, I'm just going to be myself 100% of the time. And the only thing I did was I edited my cussing just a little bit for the show. But other than that, I mean, they told me one time, like, you got to stop cussing. We only get so many S words, so many F words. And I'm like, okay.
Max, praise
Yeah.
the Lord. No.
Yeah. I was trying to max it out for a little while, but it's just one of those things that like us, I kind of just went into it. Yes, it's a competition reality show, but you can still be a good person. You can still be nice. You can still build up someone else. You don't have to break them down. You don't have to be a complete a-hole in those situations. Like most reality shows, that's how they are. I used my purple. Sorry, guys. I have a big funeral.
Please.
So you don't have to be that way. So that's what I wanted to prove to people. Also, I think we have, like, I know as far as our industry, we don't, but I think across the board, we do. We have a real issue with, like, everybody always thinks like a big masculine straight guy, like you don't like gay people or whatever it is. And I just wanted to show the world, like, I'm a pretty big, strong, masculine guy, and I love everyone. And my favorite color is pink. And like all of these things that you're telling me I have to be, I don't have to be those. Like, this is who I am, and this is who you're going to fall in love with at the end of the day. You can't deny who I am. And that's just the way I went about the whole thing. Yeah. I just fell in love with everyone, and I was just wanted to be a good person.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody likes, and that's what everybody wants, but everybody wants to be like friends with everybody else. And I feel like you're just such a lovable character. And I'm imagine that your team must love working for you too, because
I don't know. Sherry, do you like working for me?
Absolutely.
Sherry's over here.
he pays that woman to say nice things. No, but they're like taking on, like, you're traveling quite a bit the rest of the year. Like but your business is like
thriving,
going constantly. So you rely on your staff a lot. Like, how do you have these good people around you to keep the wheels spinning?
I try to treat them like family, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If they have something bad going on in their life, I want to know about it. I want us to, again, we're a family. Like, it's a small business. It's not a major corporation. You're not a number to me.
Yeah.
Not. And so I want them to know that, like, I care about what's going on with them. Sherry, this is last September, she got COVID and got it pretty bad. I was constantly on the phone with her, and she would call me and she'd go, like, just sounded horrible. And I'd be like, nope, take some more time off. You're good. Yeah. Like, we'll make it work. And that's kind of all of those things. Like, it's just believing in them as much as they believe in me, but giving when they need something, figuring out a way to make it happen. You know, I've never, if they tell me, hey, Ace, I need off for this day, it's not a request. They need off for a reason. They shouldn't have to beg. Like, and I know a lot of kind of like major corporations, you have to be like, oh, please let me have off. And I was in that boat when I was in the oil field. Like, please, like, my daughter has a thing. Can I please have off? And they would say, no, you can't do this. And I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't, I needed it. So I just always look at them. I was like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And like, we probably pull out my planner and we juggle times. I'm like, okay, guys, if you can give here and I can do here, and it's just making help each other out. So we all benefit from what we need to do. Javier here is across from me. He has a thing where he needs off for 3 weeks in July. It's like, okay, and it was supposed to be June. He's like, well, Ace, I can adjust. I was like, perfect. If you can adjust and work in June, I can cover in July for us and we'll make it work. And he was like, perfect, we can do that. It's learning those things and being upfront and honest and trying to make sure everybody gets
communication. Yeah, I feel like that is so key in everything. So so what you've told me so far, what I've learned from you, Ace, is that if you want a successful business, you really need to hustle. So that's kind of how you got started. What else did you say? Planning. Yeah. Oh yeah. Customer service. That is like huge, and as good it goes. Into the planning. I know you came on with details this last year. I went to his store and like told him, I'm like, Ace, you need this in your life. And like, you're not like a detail super user, but you have Savannah.
Yes, Savannah. So yes,
like your details like crazy person.
So Savannah started with me when she was 17. She was still in high school when she started with me, and she is now 22. And I told her the day she graduates, if she comes into the store and tells me, Ace, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life, I'm literally going to gift her 10% of the business.
Oh, wow.
So I believe in her and I trust her that much. Like I view her as like one of my kids. Or when I have a daughter that's 21, I have a dog that is fixing to be 8. Those are my 2 biological children. And then I have Savannah, which is 22. But I mean, you told me about details for probably 4 years. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think it's for me, blah, blah. And I can say now that I wish I would have done it 4 years ago instead of like being procrastinating. But it is so much, it has streamlined my business part of my weddings.
Yeah.
And I try to always be like very intentional about what I do. But it was like I was having to hand write everything for brides, and then I was having to go in and having to redo everything. And since details, all of my weddings prices have went up. Like they're spending more because they're seeing it almost instantaneously. Savannah's really good. Like she teaches me stuff on details all the time.
Yeah.
She's like, no, Ace, you have to do this. And I'm like,
I know. You got to take a tips and tricks class,
I'm just not a good computer person, to be honest. I'm really not, but she is, and Javier is. And so they all keep me very kind of, no, this is what you need to do. But I will say I can give a very good testimony about details. I sent a proposal for $130,000. And the mom was just like, Ace. And I'm like, I just took all the pictures that she sent to me, her inspiration. And I said, I wanted to give you 2 different quotes. This is the one, if you do everything that's kind of in the inspiration that you sent me.
Yeah.
Here's it kind of, if we go more into this price, what I think your price point would be, which the price point that she kind of gave me was like, we're definitely going to bump this up a little bit. So I ended up sending it back to her, the other one for 30,000, literally no questions asked. She signed it and sent me the deposit.
Wow. That's amazing.
And it's not even here in Texas. It's in New Jersey.
Wow. That's wild. That's fun, Ace.
So that's kind of those things where like everything just kind of has to go hand in hand. That's why like your social media is so important. That's how they found media. So that's why you have those things. But if you are not with details, just sign up. Yes, it's an investment. And that's why you should look at it. Look at it as it's an investment, but it's an investment in your business that you can do so much more with than just weddings. I've used it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've used it for my procurements for like programs and stuff like that. Just plug in and play. Like, here's what I want to do. This is kind of where I'm thinking. And it keeps me on track when I have that hard paper where I'm like, okay, oh no, I still need to do some of these.
Well, and I think it's really like, it says a lot because you are like a true artist. You're a true craftsmanship, but at the same time, we all need a budget to work from, whether it's doing that. So we just kind of keep ourselves on a regimented diet of sorts, just to keep it regulated. But I think the next place I'll see you is the Wedding MBA.
Yes.
You're going to be a headliner.
Well, I'll see you in Vegas for symposium, I'm sure.
That's right. That's right. We're going to be.
Wedding MBA is like I'm so thrilled to have been asked. And I mean, for you to even nominate me, I was just like, all right, I'm going to make this happen. It's going to be amazing. And I just can't wait. So.
Well, Shannon came to me and was like, who could be a great speaker in the Floral lineup? And I was like, oh my gosh, I had a Rolodex of like 100 people, but I was like, ding, 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 Ace. He is like, where you just have my heart. And I feel like you're just so generous with everything that you do, with the way that you approach like a program. I know you're going to knock it out of the park. And if you guys haven't planned to be in Vegas, we're probably going to do like some cocktail hour somewhere for details people to get together and just to kind of hang out. And
it's gonna, I'm so excited. First, is Florida Man coming to this?
Florida Man is coming. He's
good. It's my birthday weekend too.
What? No way.
Yes. So I'm so excited because I was like, I literally, as soon as they sent me the dates, I'm like, this is the best birthday present ever. I'm gonna be in Vegas, like doing honestly what I love the most, which is inspiring people to be live their best life.
Yeah.
Go after your dreams, because that's what's going to keep you going. Like no one
Mhm.
looks back at 80 years old or at the end of their life going, man, I'm so glad I did this. The only thing they ever says, man, I wish I'd have done that.
Yeah.
So go after those things. And
Yeah.
I was in the same boat looking back going, man, I really want to do this instead. So
Well, it'll be here in 6 months, which sounds like a tremendous amount of time, but you and I both know how fast that time goes. So
I
we've
know.
already kind of started laying out our booth, which I might be calling you for help on that. We'll
Well,
see.
I have
I know who to get.
I have some amazing friends coming to help me. I literally, as soon as I like locked Wedding MB down, I started calling some friends and I was like, hey guys, I really need your help for this. And I sent them all the stuff and they were like, yeah, we're in. And I was just like,
Yeah.
so I'm also going to throw on I'm going to do a style shoot while I'm there.
Wonderful.
So I think I'm going to do something in the desert, big floral headdress, desert. I don't know. I'm just trying to, and I might even open it up to the public and say, hey, would y'all want to,
Like do like a mini retreat beforehand.
yeah, like a little one day, like kind of intensive. Let's do some stuff, get some photographers, go out to the desert. So you have something that when you go home, you can post and you're like, you feel good about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think that's probably what's missing because, I think that a lot of people plan to go to this, but it's all at the convention center. So unless you kind of make plans to do these different activities, it's kind of one of these spur of the moment things that just won't happen. So I love that idea. I might like to talk with you to see if I can get in on that because
yeah,
Lord knows I love the desert and there's nothing like.
I kind of fall in love with all these little things. And I don't know, one of these days when I pass, I want people to say, man, that guy, he gave everything he had and left nothing on the table.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say, oh, he chases this, he chases that. He chases money. I don't do things for money. I do things because I remember doing all the wrong things until I found the right thing. And now I just want to show other people like, this is the way you do it. This is how you like, if soon as you find true happiness, the money will find you.
Hey,
Like,
and I completely agree with that because if you aren't finding ways to fill your cup and there's never going to be anything that anybody can do for you.
yeah.
You have to find what's like gives you that joy. And I can see that.
I learned that's like, I don't know. I think my whole thing now is I made a lot of money when I was in the oil field, but I was completely miserable. And when I started flowers, I barely made anything, but I was truly happy.
Yeah.
And now I tell people, I'm like, now I'm truly happy and money finds me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I literally kind of shrug my shoulders at stuff all the time. And I'm like, but it always works out. I always have exactly what I need when I need it.
Mhm.
And I always tell people, I'm like, am I going to be a multi-bajillionaire? Probably not. Am I going to be happy and have everything that I need in life? Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of look at.
Well, we love that motto, Ace. I just think you're a complete gem. You're a flower rock star. If anybody is wanting to like spend more time with you, we're going to have in our blog recap about this your upcoming where you're going to be so that you can interact with Ace and heck, drop us a line. What's that?
Tell them to come to Philly and see me. See the surprise in Philly that we're going to do.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I'm like this is outside too, because I think because of COVID, they completely moved it outside. So are you, just to kind of step back on this, are you going to do like dry product or how are you going to keep things that you're creating?
It's going to be it's going to be fresh, but there's going to be, I'm trying to figure out, because I signed a very nice NDA.
Okay.
So I'm like super stoked. It's, I don't know.
Go.
Yeah, when they talked to me about it, they're like, you're like the Ty Pennington of the floral industry. And I literally looked at everyone here in the store. I was like, am I that good looking now? I just get to the top. And they were like, oh Jesus, why did they tell you that?
Easy Ace,
I know, that's what I was just like. Literally, I was on cloud 9 for like 3 weeks. I was like, I'm the Ty Pennington of the floral industry. I'm that beautiful finally.
You're wearing too many flower crowns. It's like, I must wear a crown wherever I go. No.
Well, I don't wear crowns anymore. I wear Gorin hats.
Yeah, I know. I love that. We got one.
This is my new one. I got it because I'm going to Mexico and I needed a good like beach hat. I wanted to look fancy on the beach.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you look fancy wherever you go. Yeah,
But yeah, Philly, and if you're on the West Coast, I'll be in Utah doing some stuff. If you're on the East Coast, I'll be doing some stuff later in the year on the East Coast. Just be everywhere.
Well, we're going to add your schedule of everywhere you're going to be and a bunch of links on there. So we do this recap, but thank you, Ace. It's always a pleasure. I'm just so happy to know you, to get to see you, where your journey takes you. I'm like, I know him. He's my friend. So it's
really been cool. A hell of a journey from where I started. I always kind of look back and thank God every day that he gave me this flower, like the little bit of talent that I got for flowers, and that I've turned it into something.
Yeah, it's a big talent. I wouldn't say little, but I get what you're saying. And you need a longer beard. You gotta get a longer beard going there so you can add more flowers to it.
I've had one a couple of years ago. They just get so incredibly hot.
Oh,
the humidity here, it killed. Like I had one that was like down to here. I grew in like 6 months, and I was just like, all right, I'm never cutting it. And then it got so hot that I was like, I've got to get rid of this thing. It's like killing me.
We're gonna do a no shave November floral beard contest, I think is what we need to do.
I'm down. Can I judge or can I be in it? Which one?
You can, well, you have to pick, Ace, I don't know. I think I want you to design in it. I guess you could be a face in it and then you could be a judge, but you'd probably pick yourself. I don't know.
Definitely pick myself.
We'll do another bracket so that's like the people decide. We can't decide. We gotta.
I would, yeah, I think that'd be fun. I'm all in. But let's do this.
All right. Well, if anybody would love to join our beard contest, we're going to put into the mix because I have a really good model that is on payroll here.
Can't wait for his November photo shoot now.
Yeah. Maureen wants to know if you're going to be give a tour of your shop. Do you want to like run through and let people see, or is it we can't see behind the curtains like the magician?
Oh, no, you can. I'm going to try to see if I can. Hold on. I don't need this. I'm going to see if my laptop can go with everywhere.
Okay. Let's go.
Javi, how do I flip this? Can I flip this? See, I have Javier that helps me out on everything. So this is everyone. That's Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
That's Javier.
Say hello. Oh, look at my computer's like thinking I'm saying, hey, Sherry.
So this is our design area. So that's what y'all saw earlier.
Oh, look at you. They were very quiet while you're filming.
Yeah. And then we'll go front. We're carrying the laptop. We're going
for a walk. We're going for a walk. Give us the behind the scenes. This is what everybody wants to see.
So this is the front of the store. This is the mural back here.
Awesome.
That Dash Blossom started.
Wonderful.
And now I have another local artist coming in for this blue one. He's the guy that does all my tattoos, and he's going to paint a bunch of pink peonies all over that wall for me.
Awesome. I can't wait to see.
And then we do a lot of like dry botanicals.
Nice.
So I started switching over all of my store, it's all dried, to only hosting local artists or like US made stuff for the most part. So Tyler Candles made in Tyler, Texas, Dash Blossoms here in Fulshear. And then we have, I don't know, I'm trying to show you like this. This is a local jeweler that she just came in.
Wonderful.
And I want to promote their businesses more. So I'm actually having QR codes made for right by their stuff. So people, when they're in here, they can scan it and look online to see if there's something else that they want. And then we're fixing this wall up here is a greenery wall I did. They used to have a big sign on it that said Bloom, but now I'm buying a big neon sign that says Bloom.
Okay.
So yeah. And then we'll go to the back now. And then my 2 coolers. It's a fairly small, I say it's a small store. I've had other people say it's big.
Yeah.
It's small. Then my social media part of it. So going back to the whole social media thing, I was really not good at it. So I started investing in trying to learn. So I built my own like photo section. Nice. And I have all of these on pulleys now to always have the best image that I can and make sure I have lights and everything to do that. And then
do you photograph all of your pieces? Any pieces up?
We do. I usually try to photograph them for the customers too, just to send, I try to send photos to every customer that orders something. It just adds in more customer service. And I'll probably lose y'all in here, but let's see. Sherry, will you hold this door open for me? Sorry guys, it's gonna get noisy because we're going in the cooler.
Nice. That's what we
So this is the inside the cooler. And at any given time, we will have about anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 worth of flowers in here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that being said, there is, like this week I have all garden roses and hydrangeas. Orchids are over on this side. Peonies are over here. Yeah, all kinds of.
And I know you do a lot, and you have a really good relationship with Kristen Alpa from House of Stems. I love to see what you create with her beautiful erythariums.
Yeah, she's amazing. I love that girl. She's actually in New York right now doing flower craft.
Okay.
So it's a pretty cool experience for, I guess it's botanical artists. That's like it's on my to-do list. I want to do a thing called the leaf experience, which is an outside design experience that's in New York. I want to do that next year.
I know you're gonna have to share your schedule, or like all these places, because I feel like I know about all the bigger ones, and I hear about some of the workshops, but I've not ever heard of this. And I would love to, like, if that's something that we need to go at or be at, like I want to send representation there.
Yeah, I'll send it over. Like I want to do Art Basel next year. Like my goal is to literally do Art Basel. Like and everybody's like, what would you do? I was like, I don't know, but I would interpret someone's art, and I don't know, just fun things that I would just.
Yeah, Greg and I went to that one year, and we were actually laughing about the banana that had been taped to the wall, and then it sold for like $1 million or something. I don't know. It was like he came home and he made me a version. And he was like, here you go. I was like, oh, that's fun. We have a question from Kim Brannon. So does he charge to be in the shop, or does he take a commission?
Well, like no. So I buy all of their stuff. Like I buy it wholesale and then I sell it, because I want them to, if it doesn't sell, I don't want them, because what hurts small businesses lots of times is that if they don't sell stuff, but I don't have to buy it as much. So we work together to maneuver things out. But no, I started the very first time I started commission, but I felt like I was kind of hosing the artist.
Yeah. And that's where you're talking about the artisan item. Yeah. I guess.
So I felt bad, like I was taking too much from them. So I was just like, well, I talked to them. I'm like, okay, what is it that you want to sell this for? And so they'll tell me what their retail price is. And I'm like, okay. So, and I just talked to them like, okay, this is kind of what I need to buy it for to like make even like enough to do this. And we just work with each other.
Yeah.
It's all about working and building a relationship. Like kind of what I told them from the start. Flowers, the artisan, is that flowers pay the bills for this place. It's not the stuff that I have up front. It's flowers that pay for it. So that's just kind of like a bonus for the people in my community, that they can go and look at stuff like that. And it helps an artist out.
It's a lot of product that you'd have to get to fill your spots if you were to go to market or something like that. And so you have this great space.
Yeah, I just recently did a thing in Houston with this they're called Felber pottery, and they make one of a kind pottery stuff. So I started talking to them, and I did an event with them, and just from us talking, it turned into me working with another kind of a major company that does skincare stuff, which I'm very blessed, and I can't wait for it to all come to actually be put out. But now I'm working with them to create like a signature pottery that I'm going to sell here in the store to make flower arrangements with. And it's just being open to those things. Like, you might not make as much of a margin, but if you're putting out a one of a kind thing, people are going to take notice of that. And that's how it's constantly building your brand.
Well, and just understanding your demographic and what they're interested in, what sells. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for the question, Kim. I was always curious about that too. Well,
I love to try to do major. That's the other thing I would say to like anybody, try to learn how to work with major brands. Like No one is going to give it to you. You have to take a chance. The absolute worst thing someone can tell you is no.
Yeah.
That's like this hat company. When I started doing work for them, I had 1,200 followers.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't have any. I was legitly like, I had really nothing to really provide them except for my ideas. And since then I was just like, okay, but I took a chance, and I understood at that point in time, the worst they can tell me is no.
Yeah.
That's the worst they can tell me. And then, but they said yes. And look what it turned into, like this beautiful relationship, friendship, that I do flowers for them now.
Yeah.
So,
And they're huge.
yeah.
Goran brother hats are like the jam now. If you don't
Yeah.
have one, you got to get one. I
Well, and
know.
that's what I would say. Like, always bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself. You're not going to let yourself fail. Even if it doesn't work out exactly the way you wanted it to, go back to the drawing board and try again.
Yeah, I think that's a super, super beautiful message. And I wholeheartedly agree. You know, if I had stopped, it would have been like, okay, well, we don't have a software for florists. But it was like every time I heard a no or anything, it was like, okay, well, they're not my people. So we just gotta just keep on going, and beautiful things can happen. And look, I made such great friends.
Just
So
think, if someone told you no all those times, where would details be? We wouldn't be here without details.
hey, I know we wouldn't all be here. So I'm so blessed to have you guys all participate in this. We're going to edit it. We're going to share it to you guys. Let us know your feedback. If you're interested in any of Ace's classes, please either email him directly or let us know and we will pass it along. But a pleasure to get to spend a little time with you this afternoon, Ace. Thank you.
I miss your face. I miss you and your husband's faces.
I will let him know. He will be so happy. You're one of his favorite people. So I love that.
One of mine. He is definitely one of mine. I remember when I first met him, I was like, I like him.
I know. I remember. I was like, hey, he's mine, Ace. No.
Yeah. Like, this guy's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's really cool. He's like you. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. And if there's anything else you need, please let me know. But
thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate y'all having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're one of our favorite people. So it's our pleasure. Thank you for joining.
No problem. Y'all have a great one, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.